o'clock.
Late.
Well, I'm trying to still get it
That's
together.
fine. If anybody's coming on, I want to give them a chance. I'm still going to promote and everything, but I want to be on by 9 o'clock. This thing's taken a couple of minutes the last few times, so
I'm still doing some research.
that's fine. That's fine. If anybody wants to come in, want them to be able to come on now. Got the live chat set up. Let's I don't want to lose anybody, but I also don't want to be too boring for people that are coming on to look later. We do want to be on time. Thanks for coming in. Thank you for introducing me to your man. I think it's going to be a very good episode. Seems to have a lot of interesting things to say. This is May 4th, the day before Cinco de Mayo and the Puffy trial. Well, jury selection. It's going to start to get interesting right away. So I know there's a lot of people
Retake
that are.
came one. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Guessing it's to my aunt, one of our fans in the audience. Let's see if she goes in. Let's see. What the hell? I can't share this? Okay, here it is.
There's a lot of people that definitely enjoy the conversation. It's great to have a community where we can talk about the kind of things that we talk about. And without anybody, like I see a lot of people want to have these conversations, but they don't go so well, honestly. I,
Yes, we're drowned out.
yeah, it seems like people can't have an intellectual conversation without getting offended and you can't be adults. And I think that's pretty sad, honestly.
Yes, it is because, unlike my friend you spoke to earlier, there's more rationale on this side and open-minded on this side and embracing on this side. That's why people are getting pushed to this side and not going back to that side. That's when you
I
can put
mean, I
facts
think that's a
above your
matter of
feelings.
perspective.
Okay, well, we see what
I,
episode they
I
turn
do
on you.
believe that I do believe that you're right about one thing. You'll definitely see more people swinging Republican than swinging Democrat during this time, but no one's swinging Democrat. Let's be clear on that.
Right.
Like this is a place where we have an honest space. No one's swinging Democrat. There are lots of people swinging outside of Republican that don't want to go nowhere, but nobody's swinging Democrat. There are people swinging Republican. Lots of people.
Or
It's
independent and
That's
voting
happening.
Republican.
I'm sorry.
I said, and there's a lot of people switching to Republican or becoming independent or third party and voting and voting Republican. Take me for example. I'm a part of the Conservative Party, which is the third party of New York State, and vote Conservative Party. But my votes, because of fusion voting, goes towards the Republican candidate as well. So our votes add up. Now, once you know what fusion voting is and cross-party endorsement, then you can talk to me. Otherwise, you're just yapping because those are the technicalities that an educated voter like myself know.
So why don't you explain it?
Oh,
Because it's important. It is important. It's important. It's actually important. So
all
people,
right. Well, let me try to get the
because
glare out of you.
you're not actually a Republican. So
Yeah, yes. My friend. I just gotta make sure it's glare because I gotta buy a new light. Anyway, These beautiful glasses. Okay, I guess I'll deal with that shadow as is. These are new glasses. Shout out to Compton Eye Care, Dr. Jason Compton, president of student government at the City College, New York. Go see him in Washington Heights and get your eye checked. So if you have a eye problem, go see Jason. Anyway, today, shout out to the black businesses, especially, if you went to college together, like Leo and some other stuff. So anyway, basically in New York State, we have four political parties. And I was just arguing with another person on WhatsApp who keeps saying I'm a Republican, like so many people who don't know what they're talking about. How can you tell me what I identify as if you can't tell a little boy what they identify as a little girl? Is that interesting? So here comes the civic education family. There are four political parties of New York State. The big two, the third party, mine, Conservative Party, and the fourth party, Working Families Party. And there's something called blank if you're not registered with a party, or if you had the old defunct parties, libertarians, Greens, liberals, etc., then you're in that box too, which don't count. But there's something called cross-party endorsement. For example, Democrats, when they want to have a second party, they caucus with the Working Families Party and they cross-endorse the Working Families Party candidate to be on the same ballot. For example, Joe Biden had the Democratic Party line in New York State and the Working Families Party line of New York State. But if you don't like the Democrats and you're liberal progressive, send them a message, you vote for the Working Families Party or you become a registered voter in that party. The Republican Party, Conservative Party were with Donald Trump. So if you're like me, if you don't like the Republicans or Democrats or Working Families Party, you vote for Donald Trump on the Conservative Party line. And because of fusion voting, it adds up to the same candidate. Now, mind you, they're trying to stop that, meaning legislation, of course, controlled by the Democrat former supermajority kind of here in New York State legislature, because in the Bronx, because of fusion voting and the Conservative Party votes, it made a Republican city council person win for the first time in 40 years in the Bronx, one of the bluest counties in America. You think about it. And that's the civic education today. I'm the 78th Assembly District Leader, Dion Howell.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
That's
hold
it.
up, hold up, hold up. All right. I wanted you to get your I wanted you to get your juice on. See, let people know who you was a little bit, but let's welcome them to the channel for those of them who haven't been here before. Welcome to the think tank. We use deductive reasoning, critical thinking, picture common sense to draw unbiased logical conclusions and try to deal with this mess that's going on right
Is it?
now. Well, it's a mess when the country is divided so
Okay, I'll take it.
horrifically, whereas two people can't have an adult conversation in a public forum without it turning into a shouting match.
Okay.
So, and that's where we're at today. It's a very divided country. It's a very divided world because the world has jumped in on all things Donald Trump. I don't care if you're in Spain. I don't care if you're in England. I don't care if you're in Russia. I don't care if you're in Korea or China.
Winner.
The entire world is now leveled in, or weighed in rather, on the political aggressive attitude of the United States being led by now President Donald Trump.
Okay.
So you were introducing yourself to everybody?
Well, I'm the 78th Assembly District leader here in the Bronx, New York. I'm a consultant at nyconsultant.us. Hopefully hit me up if you need my services, either a political campaign or whether you're a small business owner, nonprofit, faith-based organization, and special interest group. Excuse me. We are live here at 9 o'clock at night for lighting purposes, even though my lighting is a little bit bad because of the reflection of my glasses. But we're going to get there one day once we roll in the big money, thanks to the subscribers like you. So keep sharing, like, subscribing, get some more pulling because you're going to hear a different perspective. Because, like Roland Martin would say, you have to get in that ass with idiots like me because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm uneducated, I'm stupid, and I'm the black people you should talk to. Shout out to Roland Martin and the rest of the elite black people that can't figure out how to get people like me to come back to paradise.
Well, the uneducated idiot that I happen to be talking to has his masses in political something or another. Uh, he is the district leader, the 78th district leader in the Bronx, New York, as he likes to describe it. He also happens to be a conservative leader. He happens to be the man that actually inspired the entire movement that brought Donald Trump to the Bronx during his campaign. He's done one or two things. He was working with Robert F. Kennedy during Kennedy's campaign.
The
I
pack.
know for, oh, excuse me, he's working with the Kennedy PAC. I apologize. Thank you for the correction. He's done one or two things. Speaking of corrections, I'm going to jump right in. Last time I reported on US citizens being able to be harassed by the military. And even though that is true to a degree, the way I reported it is completely incorrect, and I have to retract that. The actuality is there's a Fort Bliss at the border of Mexico where they expanded the military base to give more leeway to be able to arrest immigrants that are illegally crossed. So, with that being said, I apologize for the false reporting. I generally try to get perspective from left and the right wings before I do the report. First, I try to go to the source and get it from the source, which in this particular case will be President Donald Trump or his media spokesperson, Ms. Levitt. I didn't get a report from either one of them. So I only wound up hearing from the Democrats, and they gave a very false narrative. And I followed that and I reported incorrectly based on that. And I want to apologize. No, the military can't stop you in Oklahoma if you're walking through the streets. Only around that base, only immigrants, whether they're legal or illegal, anywhere around that base, you're in danger. I'm sure I'm sure that's the beginning of something that's going to expand. That much I can say. We have President Donald Trump doing something for his birthday that's going to be interesting.
My birthday month as well. So can't wait for that one. It's I must say, Leo, it's very big of you to admit that when you're wrong with the information provided to you. But again, you're just the beginning. And my challenge is to red pill you like everybody else and make you realize, hey, what I'm hearing over here, the majority of information is wrong, as opposed to this alternative, conspiracy theorist information. Like I've been saying now of late, instead of picking up the New York Times, you might want to pick up the Epoch Times, if you know what that is. And that's a more kind of baseline, center right information that reports the facts without all the opinion. You might want to put down the freaking NPR and listen to Bill O'Reilly, who actually is a little bit more center right and actually not pro Republican as you would think he would be. Isn't that scary and interesting?
Well, the false reporting goes on both sides, right? I
Okay.
mean, I look at Donald Trump, and the defenses for Donald Trump
He's not
are
a media outlet, Leo.
he controls the narrative.
Really?
And
No.
now, so he's not a media outlet, but he'll say something, and the people on that side will defend him no matter what. If he says,
That's not true.
if he says egg prices are have come down to $1.87. No, Fox News was like, wait. No, that's not true. And then he jumped on Fox News for reporting the truth. If he says gas prices are down to the news will fact check him when he starts reporting or
You
starts
see,
making incredibly
the
unreliable
equalizer is, will they fact check anyone else?
Fox News. That's a serious question.
Yeah, but who is fact checking them is the question. Because they have websites to fact check, but who else do they fact check besides Uncle Trump?
Well, I mean, some of the things they fact check them on, they have no choice. Like, when they said gas prices was down to $1.87, when people go to the store and they have to stop and get gas, and no one in the entire country, nationwide, can look and see $1.87, then they're like, all right, we better say something because he's making us look real stupid. They can't back lies like that. When they say egg prices are down, whatever percentage, people, I like eggs. You go to the store and buy eggs, they're not the prices he's saying. You kind of have very little choice but to fact check that, or now you look like you're kind of like lying. You know, there's no possible way to disguise the fact that these prices are not the numbers that are being stated. So I don't really consider that. It's not like they're going against Trump. Trump's putting them in a bad position by saying such outrageous things. I mean, Trump honestly believes that the people are stupid, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't
The
tell
thing
them.
is, Leo, even AI has to admit when Trump is right. I mean, share your screen, or if you need me to share my screen, and ask Google if you want a simple question: has inflation increased or decreased? Let's see what it says.
Has inflation increased or decreased according to Google?
Or the
You don't want to.
AI, which is ChatGPT, or Microsoft Pilots, or Google Gemini. Ask any of them, has inflation, according to whatever source, has inflation increased or decreased? Let's see what it says.
I am curious because
Has there been job growth or massive layoffs? I looked that up too on AI. I was like, wow, AI looks they haven't freaking compromised you yet so much because it has to pull from
oops, I
the
shared the
direct.
wrong screen.
Ah, here we go. Leo,
Ah,
expand that. Okay, well, fine.
no, I shared the wrong screen.
Here we go. Finally, let's see. Come on, AI. Prove Dion's right. Okay, now,
I,
what's the question we're asking?
has inflation increased, gone down? Has inflation gone down?
Well, now, what does that say, Uncle Leo? That's interesting. But if it's the US inflation calculator, Donald Trump must be behind it, right? But that's a .com, not a .com.
So wait a minute, wait. So this is what he's blaming on Biden?
No, no, no. They're telling us
Ah,
that
wait. What he said is the economy's but this is Biden's economy, right?
I don't recall him saying that. He only says that when
Do
it's
I need to pull it
bad.
up?
But sure you can. But remember, every president does the same routine. When it's bad, it's the predecessor. When it's good, it's theirs. Wouldn't you agree? But the media has repeatedly, we're talking about the media right now, not Donald Trump. The media has repeatedly said inflation has gone up. But according to AI and the references they've got, the consumer price index up there, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, maybe they're compromised by Donald Trump, but the fact remains that what? Yes, inflation has eased in recent months. So maybe Donald Trump was telling the truth, or was he lying and saying it was Biden's fault? What could it
Yes,
be?
inflation has fallen, but prices remain high.
That's not the point, Leo. What
So
the point is this: we're to believe from the mainstream media that inflation is going to increase, and no, inflation is increasing, and the whole country is going to go to shit. Oh, excuse my friends, the whole country is going down. But according to AI, inflation, the word that they keep saying on loop, has actually eased in recent months. So who is telling the truth and who's lying? The media or our own research?
well, it's saying it's come down.
Well, now, so all the things we are talking about, inflation is going to increase and destroy us all. Looks like it was one big lie. Don't you agree?
It's in black and white.
Now, let's ask the computer another question. Has there been job growth or a job decrease? Oh, okay, we're gonna put another question. Fine.
Yes, let's.
Because they say it's gonna be mass layoffs. Donald Trump is destroying everybody. Everybody's gonna be homeless soon because everybody's gonna be out of job because of that Donald Trump. Wow. So it looks like one thing
So
is happening. Inflation is going down, but the prices
prices
are
are
not.
going up.
So wait. So that means now the next problem that Uncle Trump has to fix is what? Pricing. But that's the private sector. So for overall nationwide, that's what. But now let's go to jobs, Leo. Ask AI.
But he didn't say he was going to bring down inflation. He said he was going to bring down prices. So bringing down inflation even at a greater rate than this would not give consumers enough purchasing power to compensate. And that's where the issue lies.
Well, can you go to the job growth? Let's talk about job growth.
Okay.
I'm not good at economics, but research I'm pretty good at. Primary
Good to
sources,
hear.
secondary sources, hearsay. Search engines. My degree is from the first film department in America at the City College of New York. Media, Communications Arts. That's why I go to Microsoft Bing instead of Google all the time because Microsoft Bing at least gives alternative local sources. Mozilla Firefox, I'm not sure. DuckDuckGo, I haven't really gone on that so much. I think it's kind of compromised. Truth Social, can't go there. Epoch Times, I can show you some of those articles. Certain Substack authors, blah, blah, blah. But we'll see.
And once again, there appears to have been job growth in the last 2 months.
Oh, that's strange. Because the inflation was increased, we were supposed to believe that there was going to be massive layoffs. Isn't that so, Leo? That's what we're told. There's supposed to be massive layoffs by now. Yes, keep trying to find the information that
No,
the
that is the important number there. Job growth is one thing. It has nothing to because you can add 177,000 jobs, but if you lost 500,000, it doesn't mean
But you see,
anything.
the difference, Leo, is these are private sector jobs instead of public sector jobs that under the previous administration did post COVID. So the America Rescue Act was one big lie because now those jobs are gone because Donald Trump is downside the government and put people more in the private sector than the public sector, easing our whole budget. Isn't that great?
That is marvelous.
Thank
That
you.
is.
Let's move on.
Well, let's see what happens as these tariffs take effect. Because I don't care what anybody said. That's all I've ever
Okay, what
said.
anybody says, huh? Okay.
Well, I mean, so critical thinking, deductive reasoning, common sense. Let's see what happens when people can't afford to buy. Up
Yes, we're
until then,
waiting.
it's all talk, it's rhetoric. When people can't afford to buy, when prices go up as they have to, as they started to, let us
Let's
see the
talk
effect in
positive.
that. That's what I've always said.
Let's talk about when inflation goes down. No, no, where inflation is going down. We're not gonna put all that stuff negativity in the air. Inflation is going down. Let's talk about when the jobs increase. Yeah, no, the jobs are increasing right now, Leo, but in the private sector, not the
It
public
said the
sector.
jobs are increasing, but the unemployment rate is the same. So the jobs are going up. That's what I highlighted. That is what I was highlighting. I said this is the number that's important, and you
The
chose not
point
to
is
read it.
unemployment. The point is unemployment, is what you're saying.
Well, the unemployment rate is what's important. Yes, I would say so. If if 177,000 jobs was added, but 500,000 was lost, it would be bad. But a stable unemployment rate under 5% is good. But that's right now, and everything hasn't taken effect yet. As I've said on every episode that we talk about economics, and that's every episode since these tariffs began, it's when the tariffs actually take effect that we have to watch for.
So you're saying that tariffs haven't taken effect yet?
They just started to really take effect in the last 2 weeks. They're really starting to hit last week. In the next week or two, we're gonna remember I said last week, in the next week or two, this is week one coming up. Remember I said last week, in the next week or two, this is week one coming up. All right. So Donald Trump wants to change the name of holidays. He wants to rename Veterans Day. Should I be offended?
That's why I'm going to defer this answer to you, my friend.
Victory Day for World War One
Okay.
instead of Veterans Day. So he wants to give the credit to America, but he's taking away something else from veterans. Because I know what I like to do on Veterans Day. It's since me and one of my exes, who was also a military veteran, what we used to like to do, and what something I maintain, I do every year, is I go out and get on my Veteran Day freebies.
That's
Because all I
right.
got to do is love it. Go to White Castle, you gotta stop all the stuff I wouldn't even normally eat. Just to enjoy being respected as a veteran. And now it's no longer going to be Veterans Day.
So
No,
you're
not a
talking
fan.
about, so wait. So you're saying all the free amenities you normally get won't be there because he changed the name. Like the Gulf of
Uh,
America now.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, If it's no longer Veterans Day, do veterans still get things?
Exactly. So what's the big deal? I mean, as a veteran, are you offended by this?
Nah, he's just taking stuff away. We expect that.
He didn't take anything away. He just renamed it, rebranded it. But we think about Leo, what political party or candidate do veterans mostly support? If you think about it, shouldn't the Republicans be in up and uproar with their legions? Get it? Legions of veteran supporters? Crickets, don't you think?
Well, the Republicans are not going to say anything no matter what he does. We've seen that.
That's not true at all. You know that that can't be true at all.
When the Republicans were being asked by Democrats, quite literally, I watched the video in Congress, quite literally, will any Republican debate this bill that children of citizens that children that are citizens can be deported and taken away. They use the word concentration camps. We know they mean holding centers or whatever. Will anybody deport this bill that citizens that are children should not be debated? The Republicans refuse to even talk about it as they voted for child citizens to be deported.
Okay,
And
well,
I watched this with my own eyes. This
that's
isn't
beautiful.
CNN, Fox, nobody.
Okay.
I watched this.
Did you watch Senator Cory Booker's half a day filibuster speech? I mean, that was supposed to be a big deal, right? So back to this. What did the border czar, not Kamala Harris, who hasn't been in Europe either, what did he say? Tom Homan said, yes, we will deport families together. And that's what they're doing. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, as a Secretary of HHS, that you know what, because of what's going on, what happened, their HHS was abating and facilitating the loss and mistreatment of children. I think over 40,000 children went missing at the
You
border.
missed the
On top of
entire
that,
point.
on top of that, who built the cages, Joe? So how is this
You
happening so much?
missed
What's the
the
point?
entire point.
They got
The
deported with their families.
entire
The
point.
point is these American citizens that are children and babies that were born
Citizens.
here,
We're not talking
the
about
anchor
immigrants. We're not
babies,
talking about visas. We're not talking about green cards.
they
We're
got
talking
deported with
about
their parents.
citizens.
They got deported with their parents. So no more anchor babies, Leo. Doesn't
Okay.
that make sense?
Well,
Instead of making them disappear like in the previous administration with all the child sex trafficking and organ harvesting, that they be placed with their families out the country. Because the last administration, these kids were all kinds of Hollywood crazies on the border with the black market. You know that, right? The mainstream media is not going to say about
so
that.
I so
Common sense,
you're
baby. Yeah.
I didn't support that either. I I mean, you're
You
talking
didn't
about
report on that
straight
either. You didn't report on that either.
that I wasn't doing this at that time, so I could not report on it.
Let's
So I
follow
don't
up,
know.
Leo. Come back
That's a
next
misnomer.
episode. Come back next
That's a
episode.
misnomer.
All right, fine.
You're talking about reporting on stuff that I wasn't around to report on. I
But
didn't
you report on
have.
now.
I'm reporting on things that are happening now. What's happening now is citizens have just lost their right to not be deported. I mean, this would have happened a due process, a constitution.
But Leo, you're not giving us the full context. I added on to the context. I'm not disagreeing with you. United States citizens are being deported. The children and
Constitution,
hold it. But Leo, I'm not disagreeing with you. The Constitution,
rule of law.
but the problem is, Leo, that okay, let's see the legal loophole, just like sanctuary cities that they're exploiting right now, is saying, hey, if you don't want to see children separate from their families, Tom Homan said it himself, he will deport the families together. That's the only humane thing he can do because deportation laws that Donald Trump, or executive orders rather, he's put out there, the parents will be deported, separating the family and the child here, helpless, homeless, and in system. Whereas I say, you know what? We're willing to actually push the Constitution to the limits and deport the child with the parents.
That is not pushing the Constitution to the limits. That's outright flaunting the Constitution.
Okay,
It's
it's
outright
flagrant.
ignoring the words
All
that are
right, it's
written in it.
flagrant. Okay, good. So you're right, Leo. It's flagrant. U.S. citizens are getting deported, but they're following the administrative border czar's directive order, which is deport them with their families instead of going missing at the border like before. Guys,
So
bring
the
historical
rules,
context, Leo. History is important. Got to remind these people, hey, this is the entire situation we're at and how we got here.
how we got here was illegal immigrants coming in the first place. That's how we got here.
Yep.
Coming in ways they should not have been able to get here. Where we're
There.
at right now, but that wasn't breaking the Constitution. This is breaking the Constitution, and that's the major difference.
Okay.
The Constitution is supposed to be the law of the land. If the Constitution doesn't exist, or if you could just take what you want from the Constitution and ignore the rest, then we have no protection. That's the problem. Anyway, so Trump is supporting outright Germans. Even Germany's like, nah, chill. We ain't doing Nazis. America's wilding. You, we are at a point in time in history where Germany is like, Americans acted too much like Nazis. This is a problem. That's a problem. we are, we are at a point in history. I shouldn't be laughing. This is not a laughing matter. I have to laugh. There's nothing else I can do. Where Germany is saying that America is too nationalistic. They're acting like acting like Nazis. We are
Okay.
not allowing our alt-right party to take over. We saw what that did in World War II. We're not allowing that to happen again. We're not going to do what America is doing.
Okay. So the point is this. This alt-right, as it's labeled across the world, is increasing for some reason. But the media, again, I point to the fourth branch of government, is not really reporting it in its context as to why and the reason and the logic and facts of it, instead of this alternate right must be evil, it must be stopped. Now, this is a pattern globally with the migration problem, strain on governments, and liberal progressive takeover to things that the people no longer want, that's been forced down their throats, like gender neutrality, fluidity, and children getting access to gender affirming care, and other issues as well. So, Germany, a democracy, I guess, they voted democracy again for alternate right wing government and leaders.
That's
Just
how
like,
Hitler got into
yeah.
power. And a lot of the stuff you said sounded just like Hitler.
So it looks like democracy is
Everything
not
but
a
the
good
gender
idea.
fluidity.
Looks like democracy is not a good idea after all. Thank God we're a republic over here based on the United States Constitution. So there are checks and balances. Now back to democracy again that we're all
Which
supposed to
haven't
like,
worked at
right?
all.
We like democracy, but the bad side of democracy is majority rule. That's where Republicans are just a little bit better. Back to Germany. So out of all the countries in the world that went alt right, like the Ukraine, we're supposed to focus on what Germany's saying. Just like Hamas, Hamas actually started off like the Democrats. It's a political party and ideology. So when they say Hamas, think Democrats, okay? Because
Or Republicans.
Republicans, there you go, over there in Palestine, Israel, whatever the argument is. So again, the extremism goes in a lot of directions. Germany again has a historically of extremism. However, like Italy, and other countries that are going with this alternative right conservative movement globally, they are going in that direction. And they're saying Donald Trump is the supreme overlord inspiration. That may be so, but then again, what is the alternative? How did we get here? Why are so many people, a majority of them feel this way? Everybody can't be a racist, extremist, Nazi sympathizer, whatever the case may be. People like me, am I a white extremist? I've been called such, but think about it. Born and raised in the Bronx, why is this happening? Why is this mental illness spreading like the pandemic? I'll just leave that there. Back to you, Skip.
Well, there could be a lot of reasons for it. I mean, there was enough support for Hitler in Germany that Hitler took power and almost took over the world because people supported him. So just because the masses support you doesn't make it right.
But how did Hitler rise to power? How did Donald Trump rise to power?
Same
People,
way, actually.
well, not really. Hitler went to jail. They tried to throw Donald Trump in jail. Hitler gained enough sympathy from the people, like Donald Trump. However, Hitler started blaming everybody for the faults, and he started exposing things like the Rothschilds and also a lot of conspiracy theories, just like Donald Trump. So people that felt downtrodden and not heard from, and Germany's worst place in the world, according to the media, Hitler went after everybody. However, in this country, Donald Trump actually has something different from Adolf Hitler. in which Adolf Hitler believed in the concept of the right, which is the purest mankind, the supreme being. What you call it? Uh,
Wait, that's what Trump believes in?
no, that's what Hitler believed in. Whereas Trump has a very diverse coalition. Hitler had the blonde eyes and
So who is it that Trump believes in?
Jesus.
Do you know who Jesus was? The painting of Jesus was that you're talking about? Do you know who that was?
We didn't say anything about that. We're talking about Jesus.
Well, that's that. Well, that who's that Jesus? Let's talk about it.
Okay. The one from the Christian Bible, that's what Trump believes in, the Judeo-Christian ethnic system. He said that repeatedly. His Lord and Savior. That's what the man said. Now is
The
he
man that
lying
wouldn't
like a
touch the
donkey?
Bible, and when the last time I did see him hold it, it was upside down. That guy. All right.
Long story
Uh,
short, that when Hitler came to power, he actually was pro-war, whereas President Trump is anti-war. Wouldn't you agree?
Anti-war. The guy that's
Hitler
talking about
started
taking over
wars.
Canada,
Well, Hitler started
Greenland.
wars. Hitler invaded. Donald Trump actually wants to pull out troops out of the
Donald
country.
Trump started talking about invading as soon as he got in office.
But on paper, he's pulling our troops out and defunding a lot of wars around the world. Isn't that interesting? How the foil effect of two tragic characters, if you want to call them, are each other? When has Donald
I
Trump
don't know.
invaded the
I
country?
don't know. We have serious problems that the United States has two borders with countries at it. We're surrounded by water on the other two sides, the East Coast and the West Coast, the Pacific and the Atlantic. To the north, we have Canada. Trudeau's not Trudeau. The new prime minister is supposed to come down and talk to Trump. I think tomorrow, and it's not going to be a pretty talk. He's already got anti-Trump rhetoric revved up, and they're already talking about joining the EU and disassociating with the United States and never dealing with us again, and that our ties are completely broken because of Trump. And then there's Mexico, which I don't think I have to say out. I mean, Canada was the good part. So, uh,
Okay.
so basically, Ca- Canada's going to be like our Austria, right? Like,
Australia?
um, we're not friends with our neighbors. Germany wasn't friends with their neighbors. Eventually, he ramped up his rhetoric and attacked.
Okay. But you see, Trump has something called term limits. Hitler took over the whole shebang. And guess what? He said Trump 2028 or his son Eric Kushner. I mean, no, damn. Eric Trump put out the hat 2028. That's just trolling. But
That's
if
what Trump said, yes. Trump said he's not going to
again,
go for office in 2028. But last month he said he was. And if you think that he's
but wait a
not,
minute, Leo. He also said, "Hey, when you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again." So in 2028, we have to vote again. So
I
he's
done
lying
spilled tea on
somehow.
myself.
Because you in your freaking soul, you gotta know that it makes no sense what you're saying. And which in one breath last year, the man said you will never have to vote for me again. Now all of a sudden, Trump 2028 comes out and it's gonna be another election. He's gonna be able to run again when he specifically said you won't have to vote for me ever again. That makes no sense.
He didn't say vote for me, he said vote. Don't
No,
try and twist the words.
the hat says 2028, whereas he said you'll never have to vote again.
That's true. And he's also been looking for how to run for third term limits. And then he said, "I'm not doing it, but people told me that it's a possibility." And yeah, if I do this, and then this man who doesn't seem to know the Constitution very well figured out every possible way that he could legally. He knew the amount of votes it would take from the House and the Senate. He knew the entire thing on what it would take in order for him to run again. He knew that like the back of his hand, but he wasn't quite sure if what he was doing was illegal when he was deporting citizens and ignoring court orders. Uh, that's the future. We're 3 months in, 4 months in.
Yeah, exactly. So let's not panic, right?
Well, I mean, can't panic. It also doesn't take a crystal ball to see what's coming.
That's what she said.
So the cabinet members are sitting at the meeting, chilling on their cell phones, communicating through signal-like apps.
Okay.
Keith Hegseth wasn't enough. So, I mean, this is straight out of Project 2025, right? Oh no, it's not Project 2025. I know.
It's
But that's
Agenda
what's written in it.
27. So let's all get the facts straight. Donald Trump's evil manifesto is Agenda 47, not Project 2025, because Project 2025 is a 501c3 nonprofit under the Heritage Foundation and its other partners like Project 21 and the Frederick Douglass Leadership Institute, which are Black organizations. And on top of that, they can be using grant money and funding like the other nonprofits to beat up on. But if those same nonprofits and civil rights groups beat up on Agenda 47, it could be argued that they're using their money for a political purpose. But nonprofits can beat up on other nonprofits like Project 2025. So be afraid of Project 2025 because these civil liberties groups can't literally afford to attack Agenda 47 because then Donald Trump, like Harvard, could cover their tax exempt status for using it for political purposes. Understand?
Well, that doesn't change what's written in Project 2025 and what's actually being orchestrated now being exactly the same.
Okay.
Anyway, well, we're only talking about this one particular aspect, not using the official channels. Why are they going around official channels and using signal like chat groups where, war plans being given to people's wives? What the hell is going on? This is crazy. Why
Well,
are they not using official channels if they have nothing to hide?
okay. The way I see it, because I was a staffer with my government email and communications, sometimes these things can be antiquated uh, and not practical real time. For example, I don't know any governmental contractor or platform on par with, let's say, the Monday app or let's say Slack. These are private companies in which these are companies and platforms that the nonprofit and private sector use to be more efficient in communications that's off the grid. Now, I'm not sure on the federal system, but I doubt it. They have such an efficient means of private messages, group chats. I could be wrong. Because in New York they're still using Skype, if you know what that is, for the legal system and going back and forth with judges. Even Zoom is not even a government platform. So Facebook Messenger, Instagram, for example, same thing. So in terms of privacy and security, I guess they feel the Signal app is the most secure for real-time internal matters, but that's the way it is. Now, whether it's right or wrong or moral, of course, the deflection is to Hillary Clinton's emails, which wasn't reported on correctly. But again, it is what it is. Or Hunter
Wow.
Biden's laptop. Man.
Okay, so these are not things going out over the internet where people are stealing information. So it's a little bit of a difference. Like you can't do you know what's a war room? What's a war room? That's where everybody gets together in the center with signals can't get in so people can't listen and all that. Like, I mean, right? Like that's where generally people make their war plans and all that. They have private connections if they do it through orthodox channels because the signal can't be tapped. The signal's monitored. An app like Signal's crazy to use, bro. It really is. Like, if I was a regular soldier out in the field and I said something like that over Signal while out in the field, they might literally shoot me. They
Well,
damn sure
again,
put me in jail.
these are political appointments, whereas in the military, you are property of what? So again, there's different consequences from different things. But seeing as
The
though
consequences are for a reason.
well, I'm glad you said that, Leo, because once again, I said it before in this episode, if you got a problem with Donald Trump, you should do what? Impeach him. Now, mind you, the Democrats congressperson from Michigan tried that, but the Democratic Party pulled him back and said, hey, he has not been cleared to do this. And we want our names removed from this impeachment bill. Now, why would they do that? That makes no sense.
Why are they protecting someone giving information in ways that can only hurt us? Like they are literally putting us in danger.
Well, war,
Like, or not
because of
us, but the troops that are out there fighting, the poor guys that are out there, risking their lives for this country. if you love this
Well,
country.
again, what military plans have leaked to do such? They had to retract a lot of information from the reporter allegedly listening in. They're like, well, prove it. What military plans, and you could look on the internet, did they actually expose? When, where, and how we're going to attack? What is the mission plan? What is the weaponry armament budget that we're going to send over there? Where's this information from the
See,
state?
see, now you're getting your news from the alt right and not doing your resources. You're not checking your resources yourself. The day after the story broke, the entire conversation leaked. This isn't something that we got from
Conversation, but there's no military plans putting troops in danger. That's what you're trying to tell the audience.
no, just what's going to attack. The time wasn't there, but everything else was.
Oh God.
That's it. I read it myself. This is not coming from either side. I read
How does
it.
that help the enemy?
How does it? Oh wow, that plane over there must be the one they're talking about. What are
Nope.
you talking about? They literally said what the physical. They literally described what was going to happen.
Can you share that on the screen, please? Because I want to be educated on this one.
Jesus, now you want me to
What
find?
military plans were leaked?
See, I don't. I didn't look for what military plans was leaked. I looked for the actual signal conversation. The actual
Huh?
conversation said it was the conversation. It wasn't.
It was just a conversation. They
No,
came
the
said it.
conversation had military plans in it, man.
Let's see the military plans. I've
You
told
never looked at it. You never looked at it.
no, because it's not true.
Did you ever? How you gonna say it's not true and you never looked at it?
Because I can't find it. So unless you could find
Oh,
it,
nah, they that was leaked the very next day.
come on, AI, help them out.
It wasn't on AI.
Okay.
Let
I can't wait to see this.
me see if I can find it right quick, because now you got me. They might have scrubbed it.
What? Impossible. They'll play that information or repeatedly loop and have your eyes stretched open watching it because it must be true because it
So
makes.
you okay, right? So then I don't know what I was looking at, right? That's what you're saying, because that's what you're saying.
Let's see it.
I read it myself.
Low, let's see it. I want to
You're
see the
talking about something
military
happened
plan.
3, 4 weeks ago.
Looks like the internet is something else. They want to destroy history because that should be like birth.
Because all they're talking about is the second leak now, so it's a little bit harder to find.
Exactly. With
I
what
didn't even
military
read the
plan?
second leak. I didn't read the second one. I did after the first one. I was done.
That's
Forgive me for.
beautiful. But that's all gossip, hearsay, and conversation. But where are the military plans that put us in danger or the troops in danger, whatever the case may be, this time to scare us?
It's not about scaring you. It's about simply reporting the facts. I don't have to retract it. I read it
Where
myself.
are the facts? It just sounds like opinion to me. It just says like, hey, security is breached because they're not following protocol through proper channels and using a private.
Oh, I mean that happened also. That happened.
Well, Waltz
But
is not there anymore. Remember, he got pulled. He might become the ambassador to the United Nations. Hopefully, everybody's happy.
no, because that's not the person that was giving the
Hex
information over
said
the signal
was it?
chat. He
It was
might
a
have started the
separate.
chat. He might have invited the reporter in, but he's not the one who actually said what was going to happen. The reason Hegseth is being targeted because Hegseth actually said what was going to happen in that signal chat. That's what happened. That's why people are targeting Hegseth. He's the one that actually said what was going. Nobody else said what was going to happen. He's the one who reported the plans. He didn't give the date. He
Let's
said
see
what
it.
was going to attack.
It should be
He
easy
didn't
to
say
Google.
where, but he. Sorry,
Let's see it. It should be Googleable like that. P. Hex said leaked war plans from Signal.
I can't find it.
That's strange. That Donald Trump must be behind it, you know.
No, it wouldn't be the White House erasing stuff off the internet to cover themselves.
Oh,
God
that's
forbid.
interesting. I wish they would because that would be top news. But you have all the news channels at your disposal. Top down, NBC, New York Times. Everybody said this was true. Where is it?
It was in all the newspapers the day after. I can't find it now. But again,
Let's go on to the next subject matter, please.
I will get it and bring it back in the future. It is
The next
definitely there.
episode, Mark Leo's words. He either retract the statement or he have facts.
Oh, I'm
This
not retracting it. These are the facts.
oh
I read
snap.
it myself. I read it. It is what it is. I read it.
Okay.
I read it my own two eyes. So I see when I got the information from the left wing and it was wrong, I had to apologize about that. I was wrong. I had to retract that because I reported incorrectly. When I'm reporting on something that I got from, here we go, the source, that's a wrap. That's from the source. It was the actual signal chat. So unless they were lying about this and somebody made something up, I don't see myself retracting that. No. Okay. The 2026 non-defense budget is going to be Trump submitted plans for this new budget.
Mm-hmm.
What he wants. Now, the president can't make demands. The Congress has the purse strings, right?
Okay.
But Trump gave his wish list. He said, "Hey, Santa." Ding, 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 ding. So, and on his wish list, he wishes to slash the non-defense budget by 23%. That, of course, includes Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, blah, 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 blah. Healthcare. Oh, clean energy, only,
Clean coal.
clean energy.
Drill while you drill.
And of course, education. It wants to quote the Federal Board of Education. However, the reason that you kept asking is why is it they didn't go after the military? Why didn't they go after the military? And I reported that the Republicans never go after the military. They always want the military to grow. They wish to increase the military budget by 13%. So they want to cut everything, increase the military by 13%. Where's the rest of the money going? They said, oh, we're gonna. He did this big announcement. We're gonna cut taxes for the middle class for people making $200,000 and less. But the only thing that's ever been writing in a bill was the tax cuts for the rich. Are these not the facts?
No. Now, if I can share
Fire
my
away.
screen, if I can share my screen,
Fire away.
here goes nothing, everybody. Now, this source right here is from Spectrum Local News. Oh, wow, New York One. They must be lying when they have here what you need to know. The White House is proposing a
Are you going to
budget.
share?
I did. You don't see my screen?
No.
I think my screen is sharing. Let me check. Let me check on my phone because I'm watching the show live. Let's see. Yes, my screen is showing on the
Oh,
online.
okay, yeah, yes, but not on mine. But that's fine. Oh, okay. Wow, mine is lagging terribly. Go
All
on.
right. Here are the 4 bullet points. What you need to know. This is New York Spectrum News. We had Earl Lewis give Tish James that softball interview, mind you. So it must be a lie. The White House is proposing a budget for the federal government for the next fiscal year. That means next year that would spend the least amount on non-defense programs since 2017 or 2000. Who was the president then? Okay.
19.
When adjusted for inflation, a senior office budget management official told reporters on a call Friday, it comes as the administration looks to implement sweeping cuts to things like foreign aid, USA to other countries, DI initiatives, in tandem with its far-reaching government downsizing campaign carried out by the U.S. DOGE service. At the same time, boosting funds going to defense and the border. So, he's keeping his promise to what? Secure the border. Isn't that interesting? Now, the 1.7 trillion discretionary budget, which is not law but serves as a guideline and touchstone for Congress as it works out the legislation to set government spending in 2026 fiscal year, starting October 1st. Wow, Leo, what do we say repeatedly from government contracting? The federal fiscal calendar is from what? September 30th to October 1st. So the budget of this year was started last year before this guy took office. All right. Fiscal year starting October 1st, asks for 557 billion in non-defense discretionary spending, marked at 22% or 163 billion dollar cut, the OMB said. On the other hand, it calls for a 13% increase in spending on national defense and 65% increase in funding for the Department of Homeland Security for border immigration priorities. Again, more money from security and border. Now let's look at this critically. Discretionary spending. Now, remember, discretionary spending goes to a lot of stuff. If you think about it, Leo, that's not really a priority in the grand scheme of things. That's what discretionary spending usually goes to. DEI is on the attack. Black America, don't be worried. Black America, you'll still be stuck where you're at before, during, and after DEI. If you think about it, because it goes to help everybody else, like every other program. Now, foreign aid again.
No,
America
no,
first.
no, 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 no,
All
no,
right,
no,
chime
no,
in, Leo.
no.
Let's hear it. Let's see how important DEI is for Black America. I'll sit back.
Well, it's kind of like I said in the last episode. So, for instance, you want to go and start a business. You want to get a grant, right? Now, we know there's millions and millions of grants. Let's suppose you want to get a grant because you're a minority black owned business. That's a DEI grant going. Let's suppose you want to go to college and you want to get a grant as a black female get trying to help pay your bills. Those grants dispersed. These are the facts. Do I need to look that up? Do I have to Google that?
What percentage of Black America gets these grants and contracts and jobs? That's what I need.
Oh, I see.
AI
So
again.
because it's not that big of a percentage, then we shouldn't worry about it. Oh, it's only my
Yes,
cousin. It's
we
not me.
do because they're making the black face the actual beat up dummy, a mouthpiece figure sympathizer for this whole economic situation of DEI when we don't benefit as much as the other. Why can't they put the LGBT face on DEI or the white woman face or the Asian face of DEI? Because they all gain the benefit more than us. Why must they use us as the battering ram for all
More
these
than
programs issues?
us? I don't know if it's more than us. See, now
Let's ask
you
AI. Let's
show me
see.
the statistics. Show me the numbers. Because they said white women got more jobs, but did they get more grants? Did they get more opportunities inside once they were hired? Have you ever once gone to a DEI meeting and had to sit through a DEI meeting and hear how white women have to be treated at the workplace? Maybe you heard women, but not white women for certain. So, you know, maybe they've gotten certain aspects of it,
Once
but
again, ask AI, and what does AI say, Leo? Who benefits the most from DEI, and why should Black America care? That's my question. But ask DEI. I mean, not DEI,
right. And
AI.
okay, so now we're gonna have this conversation because apparently we have to have it. AI is not a reliable source.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you didn't know that? Really?
Never
This is a
again.
conversation we literally
Never
have to have. You
again.
didn't
Just
know
like
that?
Wikipedia used to be not a primary source in college, but here we are. Fine. It's not a primary source.
No, AI, no, 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 no. If you've done any research, you know that AI be wrong. If you haven't, and you haven't come to that conclusion yet,
So
stop patting yourself on the back about how well you research.
how can we quickly prove each other's points? So, Leo, I'm going to leave it up to you and the viewers to prove me wrong that white women aren't the number one demographic that benefit from
I
DEI.
just gave you the statistics. See, AI gave what AI does, it takes information that is fed and then it pulls from websites, but it doesn't extrapolate the information and completely understand it. It can get a basic gist, but it doesn't deep dive. And the lack of ability to deep dive makes some of its answers incoherent at times and definitely not accurate. But I use AI a little bit more than you do. I've written books.
Well, again, from whatever search engine or system, can you please prove to me and the viewer why DEI is so important to Black America when they're not the number one demographic, two demographic, three demographic to benefit, according to the
I,
data?
I just gave you a list. I just
All right,
gave you
let's
a list.
move on.
Like I don't want to. Yeah, thank you, because I'm not going to repeat that. All right, where are we? Okay, revoking Harvard's tax exempt status. This is
Yes,
something. Let's talk about that. Should Ivy League schools have tax exempt status?
like the NFL. No.
Okay, moving on.
See how easy that was? Direct answer, but direct question. No.
Word. Not well under them circumstances. They shouldn't have it in the first place. Why did they have it in the first place? All right.
Because
And
again, the white liberals, they do want to be about money. The NFL, is that controlled by Republican billionaires or white liberal Democratic billionaires? Huh? What do you think? Is Harvard
I
controlled
think
by
they're all the same.
Republicans by the budget or smart academic Democrats? Like, hey, how can we avoid paying taxes, even though we want to tax the rich people that we make at Harvard and get sent to Harvard through legacy admissions? That makes no sense, does it?
I agree.
Oh, thank you.
200%. Why do you think as soon as you said it, I dropped it? I asked the question, you gave the answer, I moved on. All
Let
right.
me stick on
So
this.
cutting fund, I was serious about that. All right. So cutting funding to CBS and NPR.
Beautiful.
So these legacy government media stations that have been the main source for most Americans
Mhm.
for over 100 years
Okay,
are suddenly not reporting well enough.
that's right. Let's
Well,
take this
thank you,
from
neo journalists like myself who step in and we're trying to give accurate reporting. I can't say
and not be
I
obsessed with fact checking Donald Trump. That's the first mistake. It seems uneven because you only fact check Donald Trump throughout these years, but nobody over here that you're reporting on. You let these people yap on with their lies, maybe retract here and there, but as soon as Donald Trump says something, you fact check them. Number two, the information you're providing actually is skewed, slanted, and sensationalism. There's very little facts when you say water is wet, but that Donald Trump must be using it for evil, by the way. Really? Really? So that's why NPR and CBS and wait a minute, did CBS lose a lawsuit to Donald Trump because they actually reported wrong news? Didn't George Stephanopoulos from ABC News get in trouble because he said Donald Trump was a racist? No, Donald Trump was a rapist and he's wrong too. Didn't Chuck Scarborough said if you don't think Biden is as fit as he is more than ever, then F you? That's strange. Believe it. But Donald Trump's in power now, and guess what? No more reporting that the COVID vaccine is 100% effective. If you take that COVID vaccine one time, you'll never catch COVID again and it will stop the spread. Dr. Fauci, like I said in one of the previous episodes, he's put on blast for being a liar. And all other media outlets that pumped that out and pundits that kept saying that if you breathe, not only does an angel lose his wings, but you're killing people. So you should go to jail if you don't take this vaccine. So I digress. And again, the blacks back Bobby as Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
well,
NPR and CBS are the same thing. Donald Trump must be in cahoots with Russia. That was a lie. There's nothing about Hunter Biden's laptop. No way he's going overseas countries making a lot of money name dropping his father as a foreign agent. That was a lie. Oh, wow. Look at this. This freaking virus doesn't come from China. That must be racist. That was a lie. So you're nodding your head, Leo, but I want to see the pushback, blowback you have for these facts, because those are facts, in my opinion. Internet, even to this day, will not say it, but we all know it.
I don't give pushback on facts. I give pushback on opinions, but when you have straight facts, there's nothing. What am I going to say? In order for me to combat that, I'd have to make up a lie, negative.
The point that you're trying
But
to make is that Donald Trump is on a full scale or revenge tour on NPR and journalism and CBS, but that's not the case.
I didn't
He,
say that. I asked for your opinion, and then I agreed with what you said.
okay,
That's what happened. You're very defensive. All I did was sit and nod and agree with you, and you're ready to fight. I
right.
don't know
I'm
what to make of
emotionally
that.
inside. Donald Trump.
I that's you Republicans. See how I feel? But when you write, you're right. So you were wrong about Elon. This break within the party where Elon at one time was threatening anybody who decided to dissent against King Trump.
You see, that's too essential, actually. Why
I'm
would
sorry.
you?
I'm sorry. Wait for it. Wait for it.
President
Wait
Trump.
for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Pope Trump.
This is all trolling, my friend.
No. That was him. Trump did that. That was Trump who put up the picture of himself as a pope.
He's just
That's actually
trolling.
Trump. that. I
Man, why aren't
mean,
you reporting on the Pope? Aren't you going to say we want a black Pope since there are two black African Pope candidates? You want to talk about that? Because they're extremely conservative. That's maybe why. Or maybe the Pope
I
doesn't
haven't
live
been
that
paying
regular life.
attention. I will when the conclave begins. I'll dive in.
Oh, I went to Catholic school, by the way, 12 years.
Oh, okay. I'm. That's right. I forgot that. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry for the loss of your papacy.
High school diploma. That's
All right. So, I mean, I said they should not be burning Teslas. The stock falling 70%. That's
okay.
how you fight. I said that all along. Now that Elon is now departing the party, right? I have a question.
Okay.
Now that he's not there to strong arm Congress and threaten to go against and threaten to put the money up to go against anybody who disagrees with anything Trump says, because that he did do that. And now that they seem to have a split in their beliefs, being that tariffs hurt Tesla and anything that a businessman does, because if you got to import parts, you got to pay that tariff, so it actually hurts Elon Musk. And he's publicly wished for free trade. And what did he say? Oh, that there were no tariffs at all. Now that there seems to be a split between them, how do you think this is going to affect the relationship going forward?
I think it'll be just fine. Um, and it goes to show you that the consumer and PR are actually working in terms of economics when they just target one person for being down with Trump and canceling them. So traditionally, it works out. However, in the totality of, for example, the common man can't afford Teslas. So all the billionaires and millionaires that buy them and invested them, they should be concerned. But the common man, the common voter, one man, one vote, as it were, they still support Trump above the blue team. And that's what really counts. Because if the election were held today, black people still support Uncle Trump. They may not be able to afford Tesla, but they can afford the vote.
He did not win the majority of black votes.
No, no, I'm just
So I
saying
don't know
that
what the
if
hell
the
you're talking
election were
about.
held today, he's still going to get the same black votes, if not more so.
Wasn't it less than a fifth of the black people voted for him?
That may
Like
be true, but
17%, if I remember correctly.
that may be true, but that means that the election were held when today the same amount of black people, if not more so, would vote for him. For example, I asked earlier at the show, what are people going to do to get people like me to come back and vote the other way? Think about it. If the support for Donald Trump overall is still higher than the support for the blue team, how are you going to get crazy black, white extremists like me to come back and vote otherwise?
I mean, obviously, there are some people that are going to always support Trump. Running away from the Democratic Party seems like a good idea from some standpoints. I can give a number of them myself. I'm not a Republican, I'm not conservative, but I can give a number of reasons
Are you a
not to want to be
Democrat, Leo?
Democrat.
Are you a Democrat, Leo?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. So you're an independent that's Democrat voting?
I didn't say that either.
I'm
I
asking
never
you.
said who I voted for.
Okay, well, I'll say this. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a member of the New York State Conservative Party, and I voted for Donald Trump. Now it's your turn, Leo.
As a Conservative Party member,
No, no, no. I
giving
want
the
to hear
Republic.
your answer. Tell the audience your answer, sir, so we can see where you're coming from. Everybody knows where I'm coming from now as a Trump voter and what political party I am. Now it's your turn.
I could not conscientiously vote for Trump because last
Who
time
did
he was
you
in
vote for?
office,
Who did you vote for?
I always voted against Trump. I didn't
Oh,
vote for anybody. I voted against Trump.
yeah.
And the
Like
reason
a
is
vote
because
for
last,
like a vote for Kennedy is a vote for Trump, or you're throwing away your vote, right? A vote for third
absolutely.
party is a vote for Trump. That's what we were told. Remember that?
It's actually not accurate. It's actually accurate though. If you vote for a third party, you're throwing away your vote. It's not a vote for Trump, but it's throwing away your vote because because of the way the electoral college is set up, that person can't win anyway. Matter of fact, your vote doesn't even really count, but we don't want to go there, right? So, I mean, it didn't with the first Bush, it didn't with the last Trump.
of democracy, right? But you're saying democracy, democracy, democracy. But we don't get the
Ah,
third parties, the third parties, the parties. Where's my options as a voter?
your vote doesn't matter.
Okay, well, let's move on.
It doesn't. I mean, as you said, this is a republic. The electoral college is going to vote for who they're going to vote for. The last two Republicans that were placed in
That's
office
why the swing.
lost.
That's why the swing states are so important, and it's important the census that's coming up in 2030 because if New York and California and other liberal cities are dumping out into conservative red states, as it were, that means proportional representation is going to change, and there's going to be more red uh, representatives of Congress that's going to exist. So you see, Leo, your vote does matter. And that means there's going to be more swing states or more red states and less blue states if the voting trend happens because of mass egression, not migration, from these states.
Absolutely should vote and try and make a difference. The last two times before this that a Republican was in office, Donald Trump in 2020, 2016, and um, Junior, what is his name? George W. Bush Jr. Right. George W. Bush, not GH. The last two times they lost, lost. The public vote, they won the electoral college, and even though the country voted against them, they won anyway. But that's neither here nor there, right? So let's talk about this ridiculous thing that's been going on. And this is actually something that was talked about in Congress. So they said that in Democratic areas, I don't, I feel silly even saying this. In Democratic areas, they're putting kitty litter boxes in the schools, and the children are pooping in kitty litter boxes. When asked by the Democrats to the Republicans in a congressional hearing, it was a committee of someone or another, I forget which committee, it was asked, and they could not name one place this had ever happened. So why are they using this to push bills, to try and
I'm
sway public
glad you
opinion?
asked. Because when you do alternative media searches, if I might share my screen, you find out, hey, there's truth out there. If it's on CNN, it doesn't have to be true. Just because it's on Fox News or other brand doesn't mean it's a lie. Now, this is coming from a website called the National Desk, and it goes into what you said when I put in the search engine. Now, this goes into a situation when it comes to education in schools where they're allowing children to become alternative, let's say things like a boy could become a girl, a girl could be a cat, and all these other creative things that have nothing to do with the curriculum in which they should be learning how to read, write, arithmetic, which is horrible. Now, as you can see here,
That was actually happening that I can attest to.
thank you, because you're in education. I tried it
Not
again.
anymore.
Now, as you can see, it's trying to prevent surgical or superficial means. Now, why is that important? Because in New York State, we just amended our New York State Constitution with the Equal Rights Amendment to say, hey, you cannot discriminate on age. So now a young person can't theoretically get a surgery in a safe place from a social worker in a school and a nurse and get vaccines and gender affirming care because of their age. So this is the things they're having in kindergarten: leashes, collars, tails, artificial animals, barking, meowing, all kind of S&M. Can't spell smile without S&M, and all kinds of demonic satanic things that's arguing. Having kidder boxes, when they're not potty trained in second grade, parents. And also it goes on and on and on in Texas. Now here's the actual bill. The act.
That's ridiculous. I happen to have a second grader, right, at home. I've taught second grade. I have a second grader. No, you don't have 78 year olds walking around unpotty trained. A kid that age,
So
you
you're
tell them to
saying
go
that
to
in
the
second
bathroom.
grades, there aren't kids that are not potty trained?
If you find kids that are in second grade and they're not potty trained, they're severely handicapped. Outside of that, no, you do not. Period. Full stop. If they are severely handicapped, possibly mentally, yes, but a child at 7 and 8 years old Not potty trained
what
is
about not potty
ridiculous.
trained? Whoa, why not? What about not potty trained in kindergarten?
You're talking about a 3 year difference. Now you're talking about a 5 year old versus a
Okay, let's
seven,
go
8 year
lower.
old.
Let's go lower. So let's go younger. So is that true or not true?
Kindergarten, that's a possibility, yes.
But is
But
that
that,
actually something that
but
should happen?
kids at that age can have accidents. No, kids at that age can have accidents. It's kindergarten. We're talking about a five
That's
year
an
old, 4 year old,
accident.
a 4 year old, 5 year old. Yeah, you can have accidents at that age. Absolutely.
Okay,
They should be potty trained, yes, but you can have accidents at that age.
let's move
Not
on. I'm
at,
not a
at
parent.
7, 8.
I'm not a
Well,
parent, so let me
I mean,
see.
my daughter didn't have that, but
Child
when we're
to
talking about
mothers.
4 and 5 year olds versus 7, 8 year olds. We're talking about a kid damn near twice the age. I mean, you're talking about half the age now. You said second grade. Now you're talking about kindergarten. You went from 4 and 5 year olds to 7 and 8 year olds. Like that's
Obviously, I'm not a
not the
parent, so I
same
don't know what I'm
age.
talking about. So let's move on.
And we were talking about kitty litter boxes.
I just showed you the facts, and I told you the facts. Just like drag queen
The
story
facts
about
are
NYC.
Congress acknowledged that it didn't happen.
Okay.
Congress acknowledged that it didn't happen.
But it happened
So
on the local level, like in San Antonio, Texas. Let me see what if this says this. Doo-doo-doo. Yes, San Antonio. So, which is a
have kitty
little,
litters in the box in the classroom for kids.
they're passing the law, so it must be true
They're passing the law to put kitty litter boxes in there.
to take away.
Please share your screen.
There's this
Please
restriction.
share your screen.
Okay, here we go again, family. I should put it in the chat for this guy, right? Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Oh, did I go back too far? Is this it? No.
Oh, my lag is too far. I'm not going to see it. This is disturbing.
Let's see. Oh wow, I gotta let me see. I gotta figure out what did I guess did I actually erase it? Let's see. All right, this is Google again. And you said cat litter boxes law. Let's see if it comes up again. The Furies Act would ban students from using it. So it wasn't sexist. See, there you go. This is from 2 days ago. Yahoo might refer to the same source. Let's see if it
Oh,
does.
no, no, no. That's why it came up in Congress. Because when they were trying to pass the law, they said, yeah, wait a minute, time out. So is there any school where that actually happened?
Okay, I think Leo's
Well,
frozen. So let me stop
is
sharing
there
my
any
screen.
school where that
Well, back to
actually
the DR
happened?
show. Seems
No.
though Leo can't handle the truth. Hopefully you
No,
can.
no,
So,
that was
all right,
actually the
fine. You
hearing.
froze up there.
That was the hearing. That was the hearing. When it was like, oh, from 2 days ago, that was the hearing. When it was like, so you're telling me,
Why
so
is this even
name
news? Why is it news?
that what it was. Name one school that this happened. Can you name one school? No. Did this happen? You cannot name a school that's happened. No. So then why are y'all using this? That was the hearing.
It's y'all.
I'm
I
glad you
didn't
brought it up.
say it.
And when asked to talk about it, the Republicans refused to debate it. They literally would not talk. So it was like, so you're not going to talk about it? You don't want to debate? You don't want to debate? Nobody would speak. They wouldn't talk. It's crazy. Anyway,
Nitpicking. Oh, I look at the president today.
so May Day protests.
Whew, no black people, thank God.
Trump doesn't seem very happy though.
Okay.
You're happy no black people are going. You're happy that white people are going against each other and white and black people are not involved as you support Trump.
Doesn't that make sense?
So you're happy that I don't understand. Explain.
Well, let the white people have each other. They deserve each other. That's number one. The black people always say that, Dr. Gumar. So the next thing is it goes to show you how fractured the black vote and us black sheeple are from the black elitists that usually unify us in the streets. We're no longer drinking the Kool-Aid. We're burnt out trying to fight Trump all day, every day, and all these protests without getting any ROI. So now you got to find another poster child for DI and all these budget cuts and who they affect, the underprivileged. because the black face is not showing up at the Black Lives Matter rally. So what are you doing with the grant money?
Right. The Black Lives Matter rally that no black people were at, but the millions that I was there with. Right. All right. Because I'm not black, obviously. I guess that's
Native
the only
American, you say
answer.
it all the time.
Fair enough. Can't argue that.
Okay, Pocahontas.
Wow, you really are a Trump supporter.
A racist.
So a war on working people is what they're calling it, and you're happy like there's no black people involved. While you support Trump, so you're on one side and glad to not see blacks on the other side. So you just want more blacks on Trump's side.
Yes.
Fair enough. Federal laws not being followed escalates.
Oh boy.
Williams said she was surprised and not shocked that Florida Attorney General James Utmeyer told local police in a letter that they didn't need to follow her order. Fox News.
Okay.
So this is not the left wing extremists. This report was Fox. I
So
misspelled
Fox
it.
News does something good for a change, right? They report some journalism that you like.
I mean, I got like seven things here that they reported. This is just one of them.
Okay.
I because you always think that I'm getting my sources from other things, decided to label a couple of these things Fox so that you wouldn't think that I'm always getting from the other side. We had something at the top of that we was talking about, and I said it was Fox News. And they got a couple of more. But Williams says she's not shocked and surprised that Florida Attorney General told local police they didn't have to follow her order. What is happening that the Attorney General is telling the police not to follow a judge's order? What is happening?
I love it.
What is Trump doing?
I love it because just like the sanctuary cities, Tish James and the rest of the gang say, hey, we should not follow unjust laws. Looks like the Republicans do the same thing that they believe in. So it goes both ways, family.
So you're in support of the police not following a judge's order. As a black conservative Trump supporter, you are in agreement about. I got to say that again. As a black conservative Trump supporter, you are actually happy about the police not even following judges' orders.
Well, the first instance, I wasn't happy when the blue team did it from 2016 on the Trump administration. But after seeing what they did in 2020 going forward, I'm actually happy now that some of those oversights with sanctuary cities are biting them in the ass. And on the same token, on this go around, since the Trump victory, if they are doing the same things, yes, I'm happy.
I
Long
don't
story short,
know.
the attorney generals under the Trump administration said they will not follow unjust laws, like kick these migrants out. We're going to embrace them. Fast forward now, Florida judges are saying, you know what, guys, do what you got to do. We'll look the other way as well. So what's good for the goose? What's a gander on your standardized test, children? A gander is a male goose. Get it?
Black people, if you're listening, if the attorney general is telling police that they don't have to follow judges' orders when it comes to arresting people, this is not in our favor. I move on. Let's talk about the economy. We touched on it earlier. Trump goes from telling Americans they expect pain to blaming Trump. I mean, to blaming Biden. You said that this goes both ways. This is something that happens. It goes back and forth. You
Yes.
know, he went from telling people that this was about to happen. Why does Trump think Americans are stupid? Like, yo, you just told us that what you're going to do is going to hurt, and then as soon as the pain starts, you're like, nah, this isn't me. What? So, what do you believe?
I believe that people will call the voters that voted for Trump stupid. Wouldn't you agree? The next thing is the president of the United States puts out
Would
information.
I agree that the voters that supported Trump are stupid? Is that the question
No, no, no. I'm just saying people would say
that you just asked?
no, no. I'm just saying people will argue that black people, especially that vote for Trump, are stupid, uneducated, and things of that nature. That's a fact. They always say these Trump gets support from so many uneducated voters that
He
haven't
does
gone to
actually.
college, that haven't gone to
I didn't
college.
say everybody, but he does. He gets support from a lot of educated people too. A lot of educated people. But the vast majority are uneducated. Those are
And
the
by
numbers.
uneducated, they mean people have not gone to college and have incurred a lot of student
Yes,
loan debt.
yes.
Nowhere. So the point is this.
And then you've got a lot that have. So I
Does
mean,
Trump think
look
Americans,
at his cabinet that he surrounds himself with. I'm just saying.
well, what's wrong
So
with the cabinet? He brought together a lot of people from respective parties like Kennedy and
very
Tulsi.
educated people. Very
Ah,
educated people.
yes.
People
And
with massive
experience too.
doctorates hanging like mad people.
Democrats and Republicans have been put
Absolutely.
in his hands. And so that's how he united America through a real coalition building and saying, hey, you're stupid, you're racist, you're uneducated. Instead of doing that and just pushing those same voters into Uncle Trump's warm embrace. You know what? You're canceled if you say anything that remotely helps Trump. But this is a fact. I'm actually going to report on Hunter Biden's laptop what really happened. Joe. No, no, no. You can't talk about that and cancel. You know what? I'm gonna have an interview with Trump uninterrupted. I'm not gonna cut him off. I'm gonna talk. That interview had no fact checking. You're canceled. You know what? I'm gonna go to the White House after winning the Super Bowl championship and hang out with the president. You know what? You're dead to us. So once again, those are all facts, but pushes these stupid people, quote unquote, into Uncle Trump's hand. Now the question is, does Trump think people are stupid? Mm, maybe. One thing is this: people think Trump are stupid, so maybe those people are stupid. If you think about it, that's my feelings on that.
Well, we said that signs of inflation have not really that inflation hasn't happened.
No, we said the inflation has actually decreased. AI
Right.
proved that, but you're saying AI is no longer a good source for the show. So I
I
don't know
mean,
if
no, no,
you
I mean, not said AI is not always a good source. And I'm going to prove it to you now.
good.
I'm going to show you why you can't just take AI you got to,
Oh, look at that index right there. Let's go to the index. I think we should go to US. What's that? Eye on housing. Let's go to the US economic contracted in the first quarter of 2025. Let's go to that one.
which one?
In the lower left-hand corner. What does it say?
Here.
The lowest one with the index. Bar graphs don't lie, do they, Leo? Or was it line graphs?
Oh, here.
No, the lower left.
It,
Okay, fine too. Go click that.
I mean, all of them are saying the same thing.
I want to see a line graph. That's not the line graph, but okay.
That's a no. I don't see a line graph.
The lower left-hand corner. It says, yes, that's it. US economy
That's
contract.
not a line. What do you see a line graph?
What screen are you showing? You're scrolling AI right now. I don't know what screen you're looking at. Now you're opening up a new tab. Okay, that tab is fine. I
I
can't
don't know.
see.
They're all saying the same thing. The U.S. economy shrank.
Okay, well, listen.
They all say that.
Go up to the new tab you just opened from the article. Yes. Go back up, the new tab. That's a
I
tab.
can't. I'm waiting for this to disappear.
I can't see what, well, maybe you're not seeing what we're seeing. Yes, that's a tab. Good.
Right, there was something blocking it. I'm not crazy.
Okay.
U.S. economy contracted in the first quarter of 2020, Todd, for the first time in 3 years. So the economy, last time the economy contracted was when Biden got in office. Since he's been in office, the economy has expanded up until now. That's what that says. For those of us who, don't want to do the thinking. According
Okay.
to the advanced estimate released by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, gross domestic product is the amount of goods and services in a year. So if you sell something and you sold and it's a good or service, it's an item like soap, or if it's cleaning somebody's toilet, whatever it is, a good or service, all of it combined is GDP. Decreased at an annual rate of 0.3% in the first quarter of 2025, following a 2.4 gain in the fourth quarter of 2024. So while Biden was in office, it was growing rapidly. This is the first time it shrank. under Trump. Those are the numbers that we have to worry about. Inflation increased minutely, prices have gone up, and the economy is shrinking. Something that this hasn't happened in years.
In the past
Hasn't
3 months.
happened since Biden got in.
In the past 3 months. Now scroll down. Okay.
Okay, so here it is. It shrank in 2020. Oh, this is the pandemic. So leading into the pandemic, it shrank, and then it's been good up until now. No, 2022.
That's not
And
Trump,
the,
folks.
end of the pandemic, 2023 came up, and then it's been going well, and then we're down again.
Okay.
2014 was a crash. 2012 was a crash. 2008 was the housing crisis. The only times that we get shrinkages is during a crisis.
Okay.
Trump is a crisis.
So Obama bailed out the banks. Excuse me, New York is in the background. Let me go on mute.
Huh?
Okay, sorry about that. That was a cop car going by.
He said New York is in the background. I'm done. I'm done. That's hilarious. The Bronx is in the background. The only
Okay.
time the
So
economy
now
shrinks
the
is
ride
when
is
something really, really bad is happening.
okay.
In this
Well,
particular case, that really, really bad is Trump's tariffs. It
okay.
hasn't gone as bad as this yet,
Under
but this is the beginning.
Obama, so wait. Under Obama and Biden, it was the worst.
2019 going to 2020.
That was the
Uh,
pandemic. That wasn't Donald Trump's fault.
oh, so what it just happens to be that every time he's in office, he shrinks. Under Biden, seems to have gone pretty well. Obama, this was the
Now, wait a minute. Now, if you look at Trump's 3 months in office compared to Joe Biden in 2022, so you mean in 3 months, that has to compare to entire year of 2022.
I'm saying in 3 months is the first time we've contracted since the end of the pandemic, and before that, the last time was another crisis. The only time that the economy contracts is when something really, really bad is happening. And you wanted to see a bar graph.
I
I'm
sure
sorry, I
would
don't know.
like to see, Leo. Hopefully, your viewers see the same thing I see. COVID, Obama, and 3 months of Trump.
Obama. What did you see, Obama?
Well, the line graph, when it was in the red, was under Obama's administration, under Trump Biden administration, thanks to the pandemic, and just 3 months under Trump right now. If you want to go back to it,
Uh, okay, yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do
remember
that.
when Obama bailed out the banks, the billionaires.
What year was that?
Now it's 2008. When was Obama elected, Leo?
2008.
Okay, no, I think it
Right,
was
right. He
2006.
came in at the end of the housing crisis, right? And he had to restore the economy from the housing crisis. Is that what happened? It was a crisis. He came in and turned the economy around. Is that what you just said?
Okay,
No, but that's what happened. I mean,
okay,
we're doing this for the viewers. Is that not what
okay.
happened? He came in during the housing crisis and turned the economy around.
Now, wait a minute.
The
Now,
same thing when Biden
wait a minute,
came
wait a
in.
minute.
Well,
Now,
same thing when Biden
2000,
came in at the end of
now
the pandemic.
2014.
And whoa, whoa, whoa. Same thing when Biden came in at the end of the pandemic and the United States, the recovery of the United States was the envy of the world, according to right wing reporting. Was that what we're talking about?
But don't you remember that Donald Trump did Operation Warp Speed for the vaccine before he left? Don't you remember Donald Trump is the one that
We're
did
talking
the stimulus
about the
checks?
numbers here. We're talking about the numbers
I
here. I
understand
don't know
that. But
what.
look. Once again, under Obama's administration, from George W. allegedly, then under Obama administration in 2014 in quarter 1, negative 1.4%. Fast forward to COVID, Biden Trump fine, but then also go under Biden again, negative 1%. And now under Trump's 3 months, negative 3%. So Trump has negative
That's
3%.
true.
compared to -1%, compared to -1.4%. So now who has it worse? Obama, -1.4, Biden, -1, or Uncle Trump on the -0.3, which is worse?
That's fair.
Thank you, sir. Let's move on.
What? Because that's right. Biden, Trump, Obama was in office in 2014, right?
Hmm. Where's the housing crisis? Where's the bank bailout? Now,
It seems that
COVID.
he's done
Now,
in
was that in a
2020.
3 month span? I don't know. But let's fast forward to COVID.
Well,
Well,
that happened at the tail end of his term, so he can't really blame the president Obama for that. He was in office for years, and he's starting off everybody telling him that this tariff is going to cause problems, and it's already contracting. It's in black and white or red and blue. It's
okay.
already happening.
So I'm guessing that those are by quarters. So in 3 months span, Obama administration, it was negative. In the 3 month span of Joe Biden's administration, it was negative. In the first 3 month span, now mind you, Obama and Biden were in office for years before it happened, and Trump was just in office for 3 months when it happened. So what are we saying here?
What we're
Understand?
saying is that the effects about to really start really kicking in the next week or two, like
You
I keep
sound hopeful,
saying.
Leo. You want to see the America go down? That's great.
No, I wish it wasn't. I really am scared
But you want to see
because
Donald Trump lose and look a fool and be proven right, right? But if you're proven right,
no,
that
I
means
really
Spider-Man,
don't.
the country suffers. If you're proven right, unless you want to support Donald Trump, which is going to be Spider-Man.
So let's go to what Trump had to say about it. I'm a parent, right? And his literally word for word what he said. Well, maybe the children will have to $2 instead of $30, and
Okay.
maybe the $2 will cost a couple more bucks than they would normally. So according to the numbers that he gave, we would only be able to afford 1/15 of what we was able to buy, and that's going to be even more expensive. Basically, he said that shelves are going to be empty and things are going to be cost more. That's what Trump said this week, last week, Sunday.
There's a lot of things. So might as well
So
say
he knows what we know. The only people that don't know it, I don't know. Some people don't. I don't know. But I mean, when you raise the prices on stuff, they get more expensive. I don't know how to make it simpler than that. When you raise the prices on something, the price goes up.
well, there's still 3 months to be continued. But other than that, we just proved from AI that inflation is going down and there's tremendous growth. And within three
So
months.
so we seem to be at an accord that prices may or may not go up. Let's say that. All right. So companies are like, nah, we don't want you to blame us when these prices go up. So we want to show you the tariff costs when these prices go up. Should companies be allowed to show the difference in costs is because of the tariffs?
Well, it seems like a political nature. That's why President Trump barked on Jeff Bezos from Amazon for trying to pull that wordplay because they'd never done that before with the tariffs.
So what you're saying is that when prices go up, because they are going up, and it's so obvious that they're going up that the companies want to show it, and the government wants doesn't want it. The government doesn't want it to be shown that the prices are going up, but he's willing to speak out and say, "Don't show it." That means the prices are going up, Dion. That's what that means.
Well, it also means that just like you have the news media favoring one candidate over another candidate with their interview process, the private sector, again, is trying to make this administration look silly by doing this, whereas they haven't done it for previous administrations. That's not fair. Did the banks open their books when Obama bailed them out? No.
Hell no.
Outrage. What kind of pie? Occupy. Wall Street. Remember that movement? So again, Trump's like, what are you doing? This makes me look silly, makes America look weak. Why would you want to do that? I mean, if Kennedy came around and said, hey, I want you to put all the bad things in McDonald's on your wall, then people won't buy your products and they'll live healthier, or make sure the company provide healthier food options. I don't know. But again, why would you want China to win this trade war?
Nope.
Or at least appear to be doing so. That's the propaganda we need, like G.I. Joe, to make us feel good about America. But no, Amazon, the rest of the guys, oh, we're hurting. We're going to show the world how much we're hurting, and your prices are going up. And that way it makes it even better to sway public opinion to stop supporting President Trump and his administration. But again, public opinion is still more in favor of President Trump than the blue team and their leadership. So he must be doing something good.
No, the pain is just starting to kick in. But I think the reason people want to show the prices, let's suppose I want to sell you something, right? And I'm like, look, here's the price breakdown. This is your taxes. Because when you're doing a price breakdown, you show taxes. A tariff is a tax. When you get your receipt from the store, it has your taxes on it. Don't blame me for the taxes. This is the state. This is the federal. This is not us. These are our prices. These are the taxes.
I understand that, Leo.
Don't blame us.
I
So but we wouldn't even be having these conversations if the
wasn't
price
with Donald
difference
Trump.
wasn't, if the price range wasn't going to be so vast that they felt the need to disclose it. If it was a small price difference, nobody would even, who would even care? It's going to be a big
Again,
enough price range, but they're like, nah, we need to show you that
just
we
like
not. But
just like the gas prices that we were told weren't Biden's fault, the gas station companies, Mobile and the rest of the gang, they didn't do this to Joe Biden when the gas prices went up. When anytime when there's an inflation, they just blame all of life's problems on what? Inflation. And then they'll blame
you
the
can't
president.
you can't put inflation on a receipt, but you can put taxes on a receipt.
You put the taxes on receipts. However, what they're doing, they want to publicly post the tariffs that are imposed on them and then correlate that to the prices. Again, that's never been done when inflation happens. The only motivation now would be a political ploy to make the president look stupid, weak, and make China look like it has all the power and chips. Now, why would you want to do that?
I think that people are more concerned about protecting themselves from looking bad when these prices skyrocket. Because if the prices weren't about the skyrocket, they wouldn't be doing that. They
That's
wouldn't
according
be.
to you. If prices do not skyrocket and the world
Then why
ends,
would they would look if the prices weren't going to go up that much? They'd look stupid doing it.
again,
If something's costing $100 and you're going to add $5 to it, you're not going to really put that. You're going to look silly doing it. You're going to look like it's going to be an obvious political ploy, right?
well,
Right?
again, where is the information? They put the prices of eggs on loop. Where are these prices listed? That we're feeling because they're by state basis, Leo.
What state
Nationally,
by state?
the prices of
The
items.
tariffs are not. No, tariffs are not
Okay,
state.
then once again, it's
The
incumbent upon
tariffs are
you.
put on
It's
duties,
incumbent upon
goods,
you
items when they
to
enter the country.
present the facts to your audience. Can you compare and contrast where is it listed that prices for this thing was this date and it's now this date? Like the eggs, the price of eggs have gone up. Oh no, it was Joe Biden that killed all the chickens because the bird
Well, I
flu.
mean, when they tried to do that, Trump jumped in and said, "No, don't do it," and they stopped. They tried to do that. That was the entire. That's what the entire point of this conversation is. That Trump stopped that from happening. That's the entire conversation.
No, no, no. Trump is trying to stop from the company saying how much the tariffs are incurring on them, whereas before is the end game, it's the retailer. The retailer that's putting out the product is saying, hey, our products were this amount, now it's this amount. They're going to go into their books and have the intricacies of how much the export and the import is costing them and why they have to, again, economics disclaimer is not my strong suit, why there's discrepancy. For example, we get our China dolls from Malaysia. And because of the tariffs on Malaysia is affecting this price to our China dolls being shipped here. So as a result, we have to add this fee and this amount to the price tag of this China doll that's made in Malaysia.
You sound like you have an issue with China, but as a Trump
China.
supporter, and well,
I
I
hate
mean,
what they
even
did to
Trump.
us with the pandemic. How about that?
I thought that was
Dr. Fauci?
done from. Yeah. So how are you blaming China for that?
Wuhan, China. China. President said China.
Actually, he said he's friends with Xi Jinping. And he's sorry to have to do this to China. He loves the country. He wants to see him flourish. It's just that he doesn't want to come to the table first. That's what he said. He said he doesn't have a problem with China.
Okay.
That's what he says on a consistent basis since this started.
So the trade war should be coming to end, right? Without military intervention. Isn't that great? We don't have to put ships outside of China and Taiwan.
T-Mobile CEO Mike Savet said costs will be borne by customers as the tariffs fully kick in. Everybody's saying the company owners are saying prices are going to go up. For Ford is a different company. Ford, they say most of their stuff is
American
made here.
made.
80% of their products and cars are made here. They manufacture here. They said that the tariffs will not affect them as much as it does their competitors, but the tariffs are going to be detrimental to their competitors. That's why Trump pushed back those tariffs. Everybody's saying these tariffs are kicking in, they're hurting. Trump has just pushed back the automotive tariffs for 2 years. So if he's kicking back duties on that, maybe he'll do these tariffs as alternate term, same word or same meaning. Are going to maybe will be spared at some point somehow at some of these things, but other these tariffs are already hitting home.
I just saw an article I just researched that says, hey, AT&T is actually going to benefit from the tariffs. I wonder why T-Mobile's crying, don't you?
Wait, I didn't understand that. Wait,
AT&T is a competitor of who? T-Mobile, correct? So if the
yes.
tariffs benefit AT&T and not T-Mobile, don't you
How
think?
do they benefit them?
Because isn't AT&T American? I could be wrong now, family. As a child, I remember AT&T being a big deal. So is Sprint, which got bought out by who? T-Mobile. Wasn't New York City on the AT&T contract for its telephone system? That's strange.
Hmm. Where's Verizon made?
I don't know. All I'm saying is this. I'm just making a comparison, Leo, that AT&T seems to benefit, which I believe is American made. I could be wrong, and T-Mobile does not, which I think is not American.
A lot of companies are not shipping to the US because they can't afford to because of the high tariffs. They're shipping to other
Or,
countries.
or they're shipping through other countries that don't have high tariffs because they're down in America, like Taiwan, like India, some other South Asian companies, or they're moving closer to the countries that are friendly to America on this side, the west side. Isn't that great? They might have to be on American soil, but hey, we'll take it.
So
If you're
you're
not
in
listening,
complete favor of this trade war, regardless of the outcome and the way it affects Americans.
oh God, so far, yes. But things can change, and so can my opinion.
Oh, so we need another week or two. I only got a week or two left of you, and then I got to
You've
find
been
somebody
saying this for the
else.
past 2 weeks, but okay, I'm still
I've been saying
happy.
that since last week. When stocks run out of the U.S., we'll see bare shelves and increased prices. We covered that. We covered the dolls. Biden economy. We've mentioned this. Biden's economy in recovery from the pandemic, reported by Fox News to be the envy by Fox News to be the envy of the world. China recovered very badly. It was one of the worst recoveries of any country in the world from the pandemic. So Biden outpaced China's growth from the pandemic very well. Like Biden, don't like Biden, that's something he did well. Are you, would you give credit to Biden for making the economy strong after the pandemic? As Trump says, he was the most idiotic person to ever walk the face of the earth, worst president ever, blah, 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 blah. Even though the numbers
I
say,
give, what you
and
say, would I give Biden credit?
for having the economy that was, according to Fox, the envy of the world.
Okay, yes. But then again, if I give Biden credit for that, then when Biden first came in, shouldn't he give that credit to Trump? Because
Well, we
remember,
just looked at
the
the chart when he
president,
came in, it wasn't so great.
oh, but remember, the president of the United States traditionally blames all of life's problems on the predecessor and takes credit for all the good things. Wouldn't you agree? You too sleepy? You need coffee?
Commodity. That seems to be the historical tradition.
There you go.
But what we're dealing with now is something unprecedented. It is. Like it, don't like it. It is unprecedented. I mean, no one's ever
Like
came in
the
and signed so many
pandemic.
executive orders. It's a
Like the
record-breaking amount
pandemic.
of things he's done.
Just like the pandemic was unprecedented with stimulus checks and Operation Warp Speed with a vaccine that was mandated under the Biden administration that didn't work and caused people to die and get sick.
Well, I know that you said that economics is not your strong suit, but allow me to give you the benefit of this
Gave the floor.
explanation. When you add vast amounts of money to an economy, over the next couple of years, you're going to see inflation. And the reason why is when you add money into an economy, the money becomes worth less. The purchasing
That's all they were doing under
inflation,
Biden. And Biden, they were just printing money. You're absolutely correct, Leo.
that's actually true,
Thank you.
100%. But it was started and done far worse by Trump.
I knew
Trump,
it. You managed to connect
no,
the dots to Donald
no,
Trump.
no, 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 no. This
Love
is, I
it,
mean,
Leo. He was behind the whole time of the Biden administration. Joe Biden was when Donald Trump pulling the strings for evil the whole
no, no, no. All right,
time.
no, this is simple. This is very, very, very simple math.
Is it?
Yeah, we had stimulus checks. We had everybody on unemployment. We had what's the other one? The one for businesses. The one for businesses. The business thing where the businesses was getting all those checks. I don't remember what it's called now. It's at the tip of my tongue. But you had incredible amounts of money coming out, and they called it. Oh man, all these terms are eluding me. I must be tired. They added quantitative easing. They had a term for it. Quantitative easing
They made up
was
new
just
words.
adding money into the economy. The results of quantitative easing, which was a term that was made up because of all of the money they was putting in, they literally just made something up to explain that they was printing money like it was like it was. Mm, Caught myself almost said I almost let too much out, but it was printing money at such an enormous rate that people was just receiving checks. Businesses were receiving checks, PPP loans, PPP loans, unemployment checks, stimulus checks. It just was printing money. The inevitable outcome of that amount of money being printed is going to be in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see inflation. That is basic economics, supply and demand. You put more money in the system, a much larger supply of money into the system, and demand's got to meet it, right? So prices go up. You got inflation. That's just what it is. If inflation is
So you're
measured
telling me the stimulus checks are what caused inflation?
and the PPP loans, yes, and just that's economics 101. That's literally economics 101.
Okay, so the
If you
stimulus
put money,
check.
a large amount of money in, if you print a large amount of money, you cause
Okay,
inflation.
well
Yes.
let's talk about this critically. The
Now, Biden
stimulus
printed gave
checks.
stimulus checks also. So I'm not putting it all on Trump. What I
Leo.
am saying is that that was the
Cut them
beginning of
off.
it. Yes.
He cut them off. That's the first thing. Joe Biden cut the stimulus off that Donald Trump, like the Obama phone with George W., who created the Obama phone, but Obama took the credit for the Obama phone. Donald
I
Trump
didn't know that
did
actually.
this. Yeah, there you go. Just like Michael Bloomberg invented the Metro card and also the predictive train thingies that tell you when the train's coming. But then De Blasio can take credit, right? So anyway, so
Interesting. I didn't know that
Trump
either.
did the stimulus checks. Joe Biden cut them off. Not to digress, the stimulus checks mostly who? The black community. But I won't talk about that right now.
That's
The
not
next
true.
thing is not Obama, Joe Biden, when it came to the SBA loans and the PPE and the IDA loans, remember that too was thrown out there and it was quickly taken away. Now,
That's
despite that,
because
they
that causes inflation. That's why it had to be taken away. That you
okay,
think that if everybody could just sit around and make money not doing anything, then nobody would ever go to work, and
that's the
inflation would
stimulus
happen.
check.
You can't have
the
that as a
the
system.
PPE was supposed to be going to businesses, but fast forward, Elon Musk found out that the PPP, which we know in the hood, was actually not going to businesses. So you see, but on top of that, Joe Biden with the American Rescue Plan hired too many people to the federal government. And that too caused inflation because they're paying all these people on the public sector, which Donald Trump said, no, 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 everybody's fired. But I want to see a job
What
increase
was
in the
that,
private
2% of the
sector.
federal budget, while all of the money that he gave out was what percentage? Should we look it up?
No, no, no,
They
no.
would print
The
it.
stimulus
See,
check,
when he was hiring people, he was using federal tax dollars, right? When
printing
Trump
money.
was giving out money, they were printing money. There is a massive difference
Joe Biden
in
was
printing
printing
money.
money too. Joe Biden, again, stimulus checks Donald Trump. He cut off. The next thing is PPP loan, idle loan, all that stuff went to certain businesses, the big boys like Bill and the Bank, and also people in the hood that stole it and some other fraud, waste, and spending. The next thing is he hired a bunch of people for the federal government long term and just pump mad money and saying, hey, we increased employment in this country when he just hired people. But then President Trump said, no, that's our money. That's the tax dollars, Gutty. They're printing more money. Stop that. Your people are fired. I'm going to make sure I actually help private sector with less regulations, and they're going to hire a bunch of people. And that's
No, no. But you don't print money to pay federal employees. That's not how this works. You're using tax dollars to pay federal employees. When you had to,
sounds come from.
when we say printing money, we're referring to making money appear out of thin air that wasn't there prior. At one point, money was supposed to be represented by gold. That was called the gold standard.
Here we
And
go.
in 1971, we came off the gold standard. And then it was basically the honor system. Finance is done on the honor system. I wonder what's going to happen. And so fast forward to 2020, there wasn't enough money to give PPP loans, unemployment, and stimulus checks. The money didn't exist. They literally just gave the money out and said that now the money exists, even though it didn't prior to this. That is printing money. That is the source of the inflation you saw for the next 4 years.
Okay. Now, for my quick research here, Barack Obama and Joe Biden have increased the United States debt. Under the first Trump administration, the only reason why the debt increased was because of COVID. Isn't that strange?
Well, you keep calling it a pandemic. How many years was Trump in office before that happened?
3.5.
So his entire first term, there was a pandemic going down that he had nothing to do with and never was there
The
before. He
last
gets into office, and
17.
then right before he leaves, it happens. Yeah,
Exactly.
all right. Yeah, he had
Dr.
nothing to do with it.
Fauci was the medical surgeon of what? What, three or four presidents? Dr. Fauci is what Donald Trump had to refer to as the authority. All of a sudden, he's an expert, even though he's in the Trump administration and he wasn't evil like everybody else. However, remember, even like injecting bleach into your veins, Donald Trump actually questioned Dr. Fauci publicly about everything. He didn't take his word for it. And come to find out, Donald Trump was actually right to question. But on the same token,
Absolutely.
on the Operation Warp Speed, thanks to Dr. Fauci again, under the Trump administration, the vaccine came out. And they said if you take this vaccine one time, it will prevent the spread of COVID. Anybody who didn't take the vaccine was breathing death to others.
I don't recall Dr.
History.
Fauci telling people to put bleach in pump bleach in. I think that was somebody that
He said
sponsored
pump,
Trump.
he said pump the vaccine in your veins. And look how well that turned out.
Oh, so bleach would have been okay then? That was somebody who literally put money in Trump's pocket. Trump's for sale.
Again, what caused more damage? Trump saying bleach or Dr. Fauci?
Well, the people that actually did the bleach went directly to the hospital. There was no delay. You didn't have to pass go. There was no extra $200, nothing
Like
like
Dr.
that.
Fauci is the answer, not Donald Trump and his comments hurting feelings.
I don't know how to respond to a conversation about pumping bleach into your veins. I don't.
Well,
If you
Donald
put
Trump,
water in your veins, you'll die. This dude said bleach. What are you
Donald
serious?
Trump is the most evil source of the COVID lockdown and things like that. Not Donald.
Not at all. That's Fauci.
Well, there we go. So why can't we talk about how horrible Dr. Fauci was instead of Donald Trump being the one that destroyed us because of COVID?
No, Dr. Fauci is the reason that we went through everything we went through. The reason the economy went down was because of the COVID and
Donald
inflationary
Trump had
things
nothing
that
to do with
happened.
it. Donald Trump
He
had
put
nothing to
his
do with
name
it.
on the checks that caused inflation. If you don't understand that adding money to a
Maybe I'm
system,
wrong. I guess I
cause
am wrong about economics. Donald Trump's stimulus checks and Operation Warp Speed were a tremendous hindrance on this country. Like, it makes sense, actually.
yeah, this is not like I didn't have to look this up. I didn't research this. This was literally economics 101. It was like this is one of the things I don't have to like research. It's kind of like you ask me what settings on the camera do you what do you do on the camera to let more light in, and I'm like, oh, well, you hit this switch and that switch. It's kind of like this is what it
At the
is.
2 hour mark, I'm starting to tap out.
All right, I'll see you Thursday. Everybody, please help us spread through the algorithm by subscribing, liking, talk to us. I respond to every comment. I get to everybody. Thank you, Honorable Dion Powell from the 78th District of the Bronx, New York, for coming out once again and educating us and helping us to see the light. Some of us might convert, some of us might not, but education and understanding and learning is the important thing, and being able to look at things from multiple sides, which is something that you have a gift of helping us do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, this is LC signing out. Oh, wait. Before I go, tell them how they can find you and what you can do for them.
Dion at nyconsultant.us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Search for me, Dion Powell, Leo, and all that kind of stuff. I should come up eventually with this beautiful face.
Love the glasses. I
Yeah.
actually do.
I can finally see you clearly now. I can see what's going on. All right,
Oh
bye-bye.
man, now you know how ugly I am. All right. Yo, thanks for coming again.